How's it going, everybody? I first wanted to start off this video with a big thank you to all of the continuing subscribers. If you've been a subscriber here for a while, or if you just subscribed recently, I want to thank you for taking the time to take a look at the content and see what's going on here on the channel. A couple of quick updates, just so everybody's able to see what's been going on lately. The last several videos that I released on YouTube were pretty heavily focused on the service provider track, and now I've decided to, because of the job role has changed pretty significantly, I'm focusing pretty heavily on the security side of the house, doing a lot of work with ASAs and firepower and stuff like that. So I found it fitting to make the transition to the security track. But I also want to be interactive with you guys as well. So I want to be able to keep producing content and stuff like that. Hopefully help somebody out there that might need the help. So there's a lot of material online available for the security track. I've produced some. You pick a vendor. If you Google security for Cisco security, you're going to find a lot of vendors out there that are producing material and stuff like that. I wanted to do something slightly different than just the average security track or video series. So what I decided to do was I wanted to do something that was a little bit different. Now, what I mean by different is I haven't seen any vendors out there putting out any free material for a particular track, and you really wouldn't expect them to, considering what it is. I mean, there's a lot of material to cover for the security track. There's several different operating systems that you have to be familiar with and stuff like that. Normally it's not feasible for a vendor to produce material for free, and there's nothing wrong with that. So what I decided to do as I was going through the security blueprints was to change things up a little bit and take advantage of YouTube as a training platform, like I did back when I was studying for routing and switching and stuff like that. So kind of give you guys a high level of what I'm trying to do and where I'm going with this. So because I've transitioned over to the security track, I decided to go ahead and, as I'm going through the written exam topics, I decided to create a video series to go along with that. And the video series is going to take the blueprint that I've put together. The blueprint is available on my blog, which is more or less not necessarily a end-to-end blueprint like what you see on your screen here, which we'll be going through, and I'll talk about exactly how I plan on delivering the material, but more the direction of where could you find the content online, whether it's paid material or whether it's free material, to try to help point you guys in the right direction, at least some of the material that I'm watching and going through as I'm learning these technologies. And that's the main goal here. So my goal is to try to put on the blog a pointer for some folks that are trying to study the material or having a hard time finding material. So that's kind of my goal here, is to go out there, see what the internet has to offer, and then put it on my blog for you guys to be able to reference. On the flip side of that, I wanted to do something to where I was going through the material and I was also trying to produce material, but I didn't want to do a full-on CCIE security video series where I go, nuts, soup to nuts, nuts to bolts, pick apart every technology and go through extreme detail. That video series, which will be the lab-based series, will be focused pretty heavily on, will be hosted on my website. So as once I pass the CCIE lab for the security track, that material will become available. So in the interim, I wanted to stay, I wanted to be more active on YouTube, because it's where I've come from. The winter's coming. It's going to start getting cold out. I don't have any desire to be outside when it's cold out, other than, you know, out and about or when I need to be. So my goal was to have something that I could dedicate time to, and this is dedicating time, you know, after I've gone through a particular topic scope. So I'm most of the way through iOS Firewall, and then I'll be going through ASA, and then Firepower Threat Defense, ACS, Identity Services Engine, and then we'll hit IPsec VPNs, then Cisco Stealth Watch, Umbrella, Endpoint AMP, the web security appliance, and then Cloud Web Security. And I actually missed one. There's supposed to be the email security appliance. But I'm basically taking everything that's on the CCIE security blueprint, and I'm going through it topic scope by topic scope. And the only reason I'm doing it that way is because there's really not a better way of doing it, in my opinion. So my goal here with this course is going to be focusing on the theory of things. So you're not going to see me going through and going through demonstrations of how to configure different technologies. That's not what we're going to be doing here. What we're going to be doing here is whiteboarding and explaining how the different technologies on the different subtopics works, and that's the goal here. And this way here, this is going to help me ramp up for the written exam, and I'm hoping to take that sometime, you know, early next year is my goal as I go through the material. I've been through a lot of the material already, so this other material, as I go through all of this stuff, may or may not really be that complicated. I may be able to whip through it pretty quickly, but my goal is to take material that is several topics might be generally related to each other, and to group those topics together. So every bullet item you see on your screen now are the topics that I'll be covering as we go forward. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I figured this is a way for me to be more active on YouTube and get some material out there as I'm going through it. And it's going to aid me in the study world to try to get through the material that much quicker. As a side note, because there is no, at least I haven't found any really good training material for CCIE security or for CCMP security for that matter. And that was one of my dilemmas. Do I go after CCMP security, and I think each exam now is $300 US. So $1,200 for 4 exams is a lot of money, and I don't really care who you are, but if you're having to pay out of pocket for this stuff, it gets expensive. So I thought to myself, do I really want to spend that kind of money for just a CCNP? I don't want. I'm not happy with just a single CCIE. I want to get a second one. I don't know that I would go after a third, but I would be okay with other tracks. But security is pretty popular, and is going to be for a long time. So I figure, though, that would be another infrastructure specialty that I would have. I've got CCMP and service provider, and eventually I'll probably go after that in the CCIE level as well. But to me, it's not a focus, because of the fact that I don't do a lot of SP work right now. So to me, that the driver to stay on the SP track just didn't make any sense. So I've done a fair amount of the security stuff. I'm familiar with a lot of the basics of what you see on your screen, but there's still a lot of other things that I'm not familiar with. So how is this course going to get laid out? So the idea here is, as we're hitting a particular topic scope, so it'll be like iOS Firewall. The way that the videos will be laid out is we'll hit a particular topic, like what is iOS Firewall. So we'll hit, it'll be more specific than that. It'll be all of the topics that I have decided to lay out underneath that topic domain, and then we'll go through them one by one. I will likely group topics together like access lists will be grouped together. So we're not going to do a video on standard ACLs and then another video on extended ACLs, because I can group those together into a single video. I could probably group 4 or 5 topics together in a single video and then explain how they work. And that's the whole point of having this set up, so I can just flow through the topics. Now, you won't see videos coming out every day. What you will see are videos coming out in waves. So as I get through iOS Firewall and get that done, obviously topic areas where I am more comfortable, they will come out quicker because I obviously will have more understanding of those. But the flow will be what you see on your screen. So, and the reason for that is because I have it laid out in such a way that I'll be able to hit the topic from soup to nuts and be able to cover it thoroughly. And that's the goal here. So that by the time I get done with the miscellaneous topics at the end, whether that, say 6 or 8 months from now, I'll be ready for the written exam and then be ready to go. Now, on the flip side of that, something that I have been toying with for quite some time is the concept of I've been an author for a long time on the video side of the house. I've also authored several PDF-based workbooks and online workbooks. So there are going to be workbooks that will come out with this over the period of time. But videos that are more lab specific, so they're actual demonstration videos, and any labs that are demonstration labs will be a paid offering. So you'll have to go to Rikers Island Training in order to get that, and you can see the logo below me. So, and if you notice, I've changed up my structure now. So my view is a little bit different. So not to change the topic of discussion, but I've got it set up now to where I can flip back and forth between you can see me and then now you don't see me. So that's going to be something you're going to be seeing a lot in the future as we go forward. So I like to be able to go back and forth and be able to interact with you guys, so you'll get the talking head, if you will. But it also allow me to be more interactive with you when I needed to drive a point home or something like that. So I like it when the instructor is visible, because then you can actually put a face to a voice and you're like, oh, okay, now you know what the person looks like. To me, that's important, but it's also more engaging because then I can be like, okay, guys, this is what's up, and I can break it down where you can sound energetic, but it's a little bit more engaging when you can actually see the instructor. At least I think so. If you don't agree with that, that's okay. I will try. I won't be talking head on throughout every video and on every video throughout the video. It'll be more or less in the introduction, and then we'll cut over to full screen where you'll just there'll be a voiceover. So I am in the process now of writing a book, and this book is geared towards CCIE security. So one of the things that I'm doing is, as I'm going through the different bullet points that are on your screen, I have a dedicated book section for that topic. So I will be taking everything that I've learned about that topic, dumping it in there, and then I will be talking about the theory here. And then the videos that are for the lab will be available for you as well. And the reason why I'm going to be doing both is I figure by the time I get to that point, I'll be lab. And I don't know if I will have completed the lab video series before I take and pass the CCIE exam. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. That is yet to be determined and yet to be seen. I really don't care at this point. What I do care about is making sure that when I go take the CCIE exam for security, that there's nothing I don't understand about the topics that are on the screen. Now there's one missing. There's email security, but that's just, it is what it is at the moment. So that is my goal here with this video series, is to whiteboard it, to explain it, and we're not gonna spend an hour on every video or on every little topic. You might be getting 5 and 6 topics, crunched together as I explain it, but you'll be getting bullet point breakdowns as to how stuff works and a whiteboard section to explain it, so that by the time I'm done with the entire video series, there's probably going to be a lot of videos, but it's also going to show up that you'll be able to use it for the written exam. And that's the goal here. So we'll be starting with iOS Firewall and working our way through it. Now, the book that I'm working on will be another offering. I don't know how I'm going to release that. It's a far cry, so nowhere near done. So if you are like, oh, no, share the book, not sharing the book. I'm not sure how I'm actually going to publish it either. But the book will be a, how Rob learned something, put it into his own words, and then demonstrated the technology, and then show it to you. The book will probably be pretty big. I have a friend named Nick who wrote the CCIE Service Provider V4 Comprehensive Guide. That book is pretty big. I'm suspecting that this book will be bigger, only for the fact that there's going to be a lot of interaction with screenshots for things like ACS, ICE, WSA, when you're dealing with web GUIs. So when there's the interaction with a web GUI, it's going to take longer for you to go through it, because of the fact that you've got, you're not just typing it out or copying and pasting command line outputs. You're screenshot and then having to inject it into the workbook. So I'm not sure exactly how that's going to play out yet. But once I've passed the lab, I have my second CCIE, and I decided to go ahead and release everything, that's when this stuff will come out. So that's pretty much where it's at. I'm actually looking really forward to the near future and how this is actually going to play out. I will be demonstrating all this stuff in a lab video series, which will be a different course for you guys to be able to gain access to on Rikers Island. And I will release that. That won't be released until after I have passed the lab exam. And then you see another plaque on the wall behind me. So that's pretty much it for the introduction. I wanted to at least be somewhat involved still online and on the platform. So I'm pretty excited about the idea, and I'm hoping that you all find this useful as we're going forward. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for stopping by, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.